The WNBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the WNBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no the voice, no guy. It's me, a really raw, villain raw, Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. Yeah, this was okay. I gotta play it, but like, this really wasn't fair.
How about if you sweep it out?
What's the point? I can't do anything right.
You'll do fine.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
Yeah, I did. Minnesota. What happened exactly? That's what my question. What happened exactly? Because they were in firm control of this game, like firm control from start of the game. Honestly, truly, there was not one point in the entire 4 quarters of the game where I did not think Minnesota was money line. Like at the very least, they were going to win the game. Not one point did I ever think, even when they were down, what was it, 1 with 2 minutes to go, I felt fairly confident of Minnesota winning the game every single time.
For reference, by the way, they led by 23 points.
Like, and then the second half comes. No, back it up. Mid-second quarter comes. Natasha Cloud can't miss. I mean, can't miss from 3. Diana Taurasi starts getting hot from 3. Celeste Taylor throws up a 3 and it goes in. Like, oh my gosh, Scott, when I say every 3 they shot towards from like the mid-second quarter to like mid-4th quarter went in. Every single one. Oh man. I just that was a brutal loss. So we don't get Minnesota laying 9.5. Seattle money line actually didn't come into play at all. They were really it was close for 3 quarters, but it was the same thing as the first game. I should have seen it coming. They fought hard for 3 quarters, and then the Aces just dominated the end of that fourth quarter and 2 points. 2 points. Like that's it. That's all you do in the fourth. 2 points. Yeah, the Aces just dominated the fourth, and they only gave up 14. Like we could have easily got the cover, but the money line was in play. They just absolutely no-showed the fourth quarter. All right, y'all, let's go to somebody that actually hit some bets. Well, we did hit a bet. We did hit a bet. It's a pretty big bet. But first, I'm going to let Scott talk about his, and then we're going to take that victory lap for sure. Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beam me up.
Surprise.
Yeah, overall, pretty good episode for me. Unfortunately, though, you ever have one of those moments where you give out a play on a YouTube video and then you realize, like, right after, I probably should have played something else? Like, you just don't like the play as much as you did when you first gave it out? Because I gave out Cloud under 4.5 rebounds as my lock. And then I looked into her playoff numbers over the years. And I realized that she does bump up her stats quite a bit in the playoffs. So I did feel definitely worse about it. Still wouldn't say that I was thinking it was going to fly over, I know. But I thought Cloud was actually not as, I'd say, likely to go under as I initially thought. In hindsight, I should have just given out Jewel Lloyd unders. I was on a minute restriction. I thought that the run...
She's really not right. I can say I was 100% wrong about the knee.
The rebounds and assists were free on the under. I had that on YouTube. But the point is, I should have picked something else for the lock. In hindsight is what it is. For the dog, though, had a nice winner. Had AT over 9.5 rebounds at plus 205. That got there pretty easily. I think she had 9 rebounds after 3. And, of course, she had the triple-double at the end, which we both did alike at plus 750. So, overall, nice dog play for me. Still made profit In hindsight, though, a lot of the angles that we had ended up winning. The favorites won every game. All of them covered except for the Lynx. So we had a pretty good episode in general. But unfortunately, I realized in hindsight the Cloud Rebounds play probably should have been my runner-up, and the Jewel RA under should have been my lock, because
No,
with
for real.
the min restriction and all, I should have just taken that. But it
I
is
had
what
the
it is.
same feeling about Sun when as well as I'm watching the Sun game, and of course I have money on the Sun, but like I'm like, man, I really, really, really should have upped the unit size here. Like I should have just locked this all the way up. It went exactly as we thought. Like, and then it was the same thing with the Liberty. Like I was watching, I was like, oh man, that was so free. And of course, I had them both in the parlay, and I'm feeling really good for 3/4 of that Storm game. I'm like, oh, I feel really good about this. 14-2 to blow the cover.
Sorry, can you
And the parlay.
can you repeat the score again that the Storm had in the fourth quarter?
14-2.
You know how many shots they made from the field?
None. It
That
was
is
0 for
correct.
12.
0 for
0
12
12.
from the floor.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, man.
Were you
Like,
listening to the ESPN broadcast, by the way, or watching
no,
it on
I
TV?
no, I was watching it, but I didn't have the sound on that TV.
There was a moment there where the Storm called timeout with like 7 or 6 minutes to go in the game because it was starting to slip away. And the ESPN broadcasters are like, yeah, I was pretty surprised and like impressed by how calm the Seattle coaching staff was. Like, you got to keep it
Talking about
together.
Noah Quinn.
Yeah, they were like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm impressed by how Quinn was keeping it together and how calm she was. I'm like, that's great. They scored 0 points after they called the timeout. Congratulations. Like, I don't really know why that means anything, but yeah, the Storm fell apart. There's no way around it. Jewel looked horrible. They couldn't hit a shot. They kept complaining to the officials the entire fourth quarter, but offensively, they were just completely cooked. So, yeah, I think the Storm held the Aces to 2 made field goals in the first quarter, and they still didn't cover. So probably not a good sign for the Storm in game 2.
Shout out to the Liberty for doing what we've been calling for all season, Scott. They benched Courtney Vandersloot.
I'm thrilled.
Phoebich went out there and had Scott, how do we not, if they're gonna bench Courtney Vandersloot like this, and Phoebich is gonna go out there now I'm not expecting 20 every day, but the possibilities,
She's
and
still a
on the
shooter,
defensive end, she was really good.
Yeah.
Scott, how do we not double our Liberty investment?
I'll just keep taking Vandersloot unders, and then I'll roll it over if I want to in the next series. So,
holy man, what a bravo, Sandy Brondello, bravo. All right,
by the way, that she was saving that move for the last like 2 months, and she just didn't want to unveil it. Like, she knew she wasn't going to play Vandersloot in the playoffs. And
she was like, "Yep, I'm gonna let this.
No.
I'm gonna just let it build. She's gonna get this great run in the regular season, and as soon as the playoffs, I'm talking about, she hasn't even worked. When have we ever seen that lineup?
We haven't, and it worked very well.
I'm almost positive that was the first time we've seen that lineup start a game.
I mean, I've seen her in the starting lineup when
But
Hamilton
it's never.
was injured,
but it's been
but
alongside
not
Courtney
like that.
Vandersloot.
Yeah.
Like, it's never been with Benaj. It's been when Benaj Hamilton was out. I just bravo. It's a lot of flowers to give out. It was a lot of basketball, a lot of good basketball. Even though favors won, except the freaking Lynx. God. I knew it. Just picked the wrong one.
Yeah,
picked the wrong one. All right, but we do have one more other urgent matter of business. But before we do that, hey, Doug Stanhope, Brendan Walsh, and Sean Stacking the Money Green host the newest podcast on SGPN, Get to the Points, every Thursday before the Thursday night football game. Doug, Sean, Brendan, they're going to give out a whole bunch of their favorite picks. They're going to talk a bunch of shit. And hey, Doug and Brendan are professional comedians. Hey, hold on. Who wrote this? This is a slight. This is a slight to my guy, Sean. Sean is a professional comedian too. I mean, he may not be like, as big as the other guys, but he's a professional. We need to rewrite this. Sean wrote this too. Sean, don't sell yourself short, man. He's not listening to this. Don't sell yourself short. You are a professional comedian too.
Yeah, he's not listening to it. I know, to be honest, I never heard of the other two guys. Until
Yeah,
now.
me neither. So why do
Until
they
now.
get to be why do they get to be professional comedians and Sean can't be a professional comedian? Actually, does he allow us to go in there? No, I don't know. We don't have editing permissions. I feel like Sean needs to rewrite this. He's a professional comedian too. But they're from the Joe Rogan podcast. If you listen to that, I don't really. Howard Stern show, and Comedy Central. All of that. They're from all of that. So wherever you get your podcast, go listen to Get the Points with three professional comedians. He's never gonna listen to that.
Not even close. No.
He's never listening.
No.
To that.
Once he found out
man.
that I think that once he realized that I was just doing all the editing, he's just like, I don't have to follow this podcast ever. I'll talk about the Giants Cowboys Thursday night game instead. So he's just
if we don't catch him live, and I mean we're not going to catch him live because they're live at the same time as us. Dog, what? No.
Yeah.
Dog, come on. You're a professional comedian too. All right. Scott, do we have some do I have a drop for the occasion? Do I have anything I can play here? Something.
I'm not sure what the occasion is going to be. That's why I'm curious where we're going with this one.
Here we go. Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and just
Let's get ready to rumble!
Scott. Never in doubt. MVP.
Oh, yeah.
MVP. I mean, just it was a farmhouse bet that you made in the beginning of the season, and you just waited. You just waited and waited and waited and waited because it was clear and obvious.
I never worried at any point.
But not only was it clear and obvious, thank you to everybody that had sense. Even though we'll talk about somebody else, but everybody that had sense, we got redemption. Kind of, sort of. I would have, AT would have been really, really
AT
good.
last year would have been nicer, but it is.
But it's okay. This is still redemption. This is still pretty good redemption because it was such an easy bet at even money to make. But Scott, unanimous MVP.
She deserved it. I mean, she was the best player in the league by a mile. So she had 1,000 points. You can't really beat that. So
Fee was almost unanimous for number 2 as well.
Yeah,
and that's the part that's like,
I was
wow.
shocked. I was shocked that Clark finished 4th. I thought Clark was going to finish 3rd, but they gave Brianna 3rd, I think.
Yeah, she got a 2nd place vote. Like she was the only 2nd place vote that didn't go to Fee. But so it finishes Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collier, Brown Stewart, Caitlin Clark, and the MVP vote. Scott, the vote also told me that it's only a matter of time for Clark at some point. Like you just gotta hope for a injury or like some type of thing that slows Asia down. But like
it's going to be Asia versus Clark for the MVP for the next, I don't know how many years at this point. Maybe you have a wild card thrown in there.
I
think it's mostly those two.
I don't know.
Based on hype and publicity.
I was watching Fee in that, like Fee, and by the way, Fee 19.5 all-time easy bet in the playoffs.
Was she have 38 in that game? 36 in that game?
And that's what I was getting at. She just made it look so easy, man. Like I don't know. Fee's probably gonna be it. Fee is probably gonna get her one. It's just like it's gonna take like just balls to fall your way. Like it just gotta hope things fall your way because the talent. Clearly, everybody else saw she's an MVP. It's just the fact that Asia had literally one of the greatest seasons ever.
I think the issue I have with Fee once again is not even her fault. It's just the fact that the media is never going to talk about Minnesota. Which I mentioned I went back and I listened.
They was talking at one point.
I feel like
it's possible. That's basketball town.
For ESPN and all these major sports outlets, I'll put quotes around it because they're biased and they only care about
Maya Moore.
Points, but
Maya Moore they just gotta win. Like that's it. When they just gotta win. But like
I feel like she's at a massive
Minnesota,
disadvantage.
The talk of the town.
Compared to media hype, though, she's at such a disadvantage compared to Caitlin and Asia. I feel like it's going to start her behind the 8 ball. I think she can still pull it off, but she needs a phenomenal year. Maybe an injury in there, but the media
clearly
will always hype up Asia.
Clearly it's seen. I think I'll run feedback just on the fact that I know they see it because it was 66 of 67 second
It
place
depends on
vote.
what price for me. I need at least like 10-1 to consider it.
Well, you're gonna get that because Asia is probably gonna be minus 250.
250 is a bit much. I think she'll be probably like minus 120, minus 130 next year. Because you get injuries. There's 40 games. There's a chance. So.
I think we betted again at minus 120.
And also, we should mention that it was unanimous that Clark won Rookie of the Year, which was not surprising once Reese got injured. So, both of the awards went pure chalk.
Yep. All right. That's it. We're gonna get to the games now. It's a nice little recap. Nice little talk about MVP.
A reminder, by the way, there are only 2 games on Tuesday, 2 games on Wednesday. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. All right. The days of four game, big, huge slates starting to go out the door as we get less and less teams here. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em, always adding to their new awesome menu, and they've added first touchdown. Make sure you go ahead and win in the NFL, WNBA, college football, MMA, MLB, more. They can give you a whole bunch of boosts and no sweat entries as well. So you can get a whole bunch of opportunities to get profit. So lock in. We'll drop an underdog lineup at the end of the show. As always, make sure you stay till then. NBA SGPN is that promo code for your special pick and first time deposit offer up 50%. Up to $1,000 in bonus cash, 50% match. Make sure you go to underdogfantasy.com, promo code NBASGPN. All right. Scott, we are back. The New York Liberty at home, second game. Remember, all game twos are still here in the host site. It's
Elimination game.
Home away home. It is an elimination game. It's still here on the road for the lower seeds. New York Liberty here in Brooklyn. Laying 12.5. 156 is the total. Let's go here and click through my hefty deputy trusty injury report. Make sure I'm not missing or forgetting anything here, but nope, good to go. All right. So Scott, there was just a lot of bad defense by Atlanta
Mhm.
and a lot of things that I just feel like
Can't be fixed
like
in the
okay,
span of 2 days.
so no, I mean I feel like they can like the number one egregious thing is dear God, if you're playing against Sabrina Ionescu, why the hell would you go under the screen?
Yeah.
She was just pulling up for three and it was so easy. I'm like, hold on. And it was Jordan Canada multiple times. But then like there was a couple of times where okay, she goes and she follows her. Sabrina, takes the lane and then just kind of hits a floater. And ultimately, I don't think they're going to be able to guard Sabrina. But under the screen is just egregious. Like she was coming off screens and hitting threes like majority of the game. And so that was just really, really like I was like, oh wow, like if that's how you're gonna play her, she's gonna have an amazing series.
Yeah. And to touch on the bad defense, by the way, the Liberty finished with 83, but the game was over after basically halftime. The Liberty were up 18 at the half. They were up 20 after 3 quarters. And the Liberty kind of took it easy and they scored 14 in the fourth. They could have easily scored 90 plus. So the defense was really bad for Atlanta. Now, the Liberty's defense was great. That's a separate story.
Yeah, turnovers were huge.
I feel like we're going to have a common theme here since the favorites won all four game ones. Are we just picking any type of adjustment to happen? Because the Liberty could have won that game by 20.
Yeah, like
but
that's where I was just sitting there. I'm like, y'all are making it too easy on them. Like it really didn't look like there was a lot of resistance.
No, the dream
And
came out like they won the season finale against a team that didn't care, and we're like, oh, we're just going to run it back. And the Liberty are like, what the hell are you talking about? It's a playoff game. We're going to kill you.
we are the number one team. Like Phoenix was 4 for 4 from 3 for a reason. I lied to you not. Every single one of them was wide open.
Yeah.
Like every single one was wide open.
To be fair, you got to pick something because you got Ionescu, you got Stewie. They didn't guard anybody. I mean, you're looking at the starting lineup, and Stewie was 7 of 16. Everybody else was above 50% or at 50% or above. So they didn't stop
But
anybody in the starting
but
lineup.
that's also the thing that I'll give, and I think that it kind of ties into what Ron's talking about, where he doesn't really think it was terrible defense. I do still think it was pretty bad defense, but it was more like you said, a lot of points in transition off of turnovers. It was a lot of cuts to the basket that was just like, oh, come on, like you gotta guard, you gotta defend and not just
Mhm.
ball watch and defend the ball. And it was just so many little small things that I'm like, man, if they were competent at all, they wouldn't have those mistakes. And so,
And
does
for the
Atlanta
record,
just be competent?
giving a points in transition is still bad defense because that means you didn't get back on time to actually stop anybody in transition. So it's not the easiest thing when you turn the ball over 18 times or 16 times in this case. I mean, the Liberty turned it over 15 times. They only give up 69 points. Like, you can still play good defense if you turn the ball over. The Dream were just not equipped to fully handle all the options the Liberty had at their disposal. That was really the issue. I don't see that changes in this game. The only problem I have with the Liberty is the fact that even though they coasted in game one, they still only won by 14.
Yeah.
And there was a backdoor cover draw there for the Dream. They didn't convert it at the end. But do I want to lay 12.5 with a team that we know is going to take their foot off the gas? Not really. But they should cover this. Keyword being should. I don't feel great
But
about
is
it, though, because the
this,
Liberty play with their food at the end of the games.
but that was also backups towards
Yeah.
the end. And if they make this competitive, no, they still don't pull away by 12. I think I want to play it. I think I want to back Atlanta in game 2.
I think I'm going to agree with you, but that's because the Dream shot that badly from the floor. They shot 39.7% from the floor. They went 3 of 16 from 3. Like 18.8%.
And I think Ryan Howard had like majority of them. Yeah, Ryan Howard had 2 of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
she had 2. I was about
Howard
to say,
had
I
2,
definitely
Canada
remember her
had
hitting a
1,
couple.
and nobody else made a 3. So I think if the Dream make a couple more shots, this can definitely be a cover. Picking the Liberty to win, but give me a Liberty by like 10. I don't think they care about style points. I think they'll go up early, they'll coast again. Backdoor will be wide open, and I think the Dream actually walk through this time. So give me the Liberty by 10.
Yeah.
I prefer Liberty first half because I think the Dream, once again, can cut into a deficit in the fourth quarter. But the Liberty might come out and smack them again, and you might get a better line live on the Dream.
And this is when the Liberty play with their food in the second game. Like,
We saw it
yeah,
against the Mystics.
they feel
Right?
confident in their ability to get the win, but it just feels like there's multiple times that I can remember against the Sparks.
That was
I
the
feel like
Mystics,
there's
wasn't it? Didn't
the
they go to
Mystics.
overtime?
Yeah, it was a
That was
Mystics
an
one. It
overtime
was a
game.
Sparks
Yeah.
one. It was multiple times that I can remember the Liberty playing a back-to-back game set and then just kind of taking their foot off the gas. Now I can't remember a time where they absolutely didn't take their foot off the gas, and ironically, it was against Atlanta. But yeah, I like it, Scott. I think we're on the right side of this. You take Atlanta plus 12.5 here, but
I feel
you're
like
gonna sweat this one.
everyone was expecting us to just go chalk again because the Liberty covered the first game, but they won by 14 and they played significantly better than Atlanta.
Like significantly better.
If
That
Atlanta
should have been a
tweaks a couple
30-point win.
things, if Atlanta tweaks a couple things, they'll lose this game by like 8. So I'll
Like,
go
just
with Atlanta.
they might blitz Sabrina. I feel like I've seen success when teams start blitzing Sabrina and then forcing everybody else to play as well as they probably should, and they just ultimately don't end up doing it. And Sabrina kind of fucks up the flow of the offense. I don't know if they're going to be bold enough to do that because it is a risky play, but I've seen it happen before, and they start blitzing Sabrina and kind of throws the offense off track. So we'll see. I think they got to play better. They have to play better than that. And Tanisha Wright she's not a great coach, but she's good enough to respond after this. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the actual box score again, the Liberty ended up getting 41 points between Stewie and Fibich, and Atlanta had 2 players on the entire team that scored double digits, and they still only lost by 14. Like, if you take away those Fibich, like, let's say 10 points from Fibich, and she goes back to, like, 11 in this game, something more realistic, and Atlanta gets a little bit better shooting,
Maybe
they're covering.
guard her.
They're covering. So I think the spread's a bit too big.
Yeah. All right. And with that, it's game 2, Scott. I'm going under for sure.
I'm going to go under too.
Yeah. I think that Atlanta can have a better offensive day and still not score that much. And I do think that the Liberty are going to come back down. I think the defensive game plan is going to adjust. I think the turnovers are going to come down, and just slower pace, a little bit slightly inefficient game for the New York Liberty.
I'm just going to go 80-70, and I'll call it a day.
Yeah, that sounds about right. All right. Player props.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I like Alicia Gray to bounce back.
Okay.
She's had good games in the past against the Liberty. This one, she had her moments. Like, she really did have her moments. It was just like the threes were just those were the threes that you kind of wanted. And if you feel like they're gonna have a better shooting day and the 3-point percentage is gonna come up, same round, I think Alicia Gray is probably gonna hit a couple that'll probably get to the line. She was aggressive driving and trying to get to the basket, picking her spots and really going at Sabrina as well. So if she continues to go at Sabrina in this series, I think only good things can really happen. So I'm taking her over 15.5. It's at plus money. And again, looking at her recent history, she didn't have a good playoff game that first game. Last game of the season wasn't good, but they were in firm control of everything. But prior to that, 24, 8, 16, 25, 17, 16, 17. She's typically had good games against them. It was just a rough first game where the entire offense looked bad. I think she bounces back over 15.5 points.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to my main play from game one, which was just taking Canada assists under at 5.5 at minus 135. I see that it was also mentioned by AJ, and I agree. Canada, I just think the number's too high, 5.5. I understand that she was the sixth queen for about 2 straight weeks, but I mean, she's had less than 6 assists in 6 of the last 7. The Liberty are allowing the third few assists per game in the league. We saw her have 4 in the game 1. Yes, some of that's based on bad shooting for Atlanta, but I think 6 is just too high to expect when you're picking a team to score 70 points. Like, we're picking the Dream to finish low 70s again, even if they play a bit better offensively. So I think that's too few points to expect 6 assists from somebody, unless you're Caitlin Clark. So I'll go with the under on Canada assists here at 5.5 at minus 135.
Oh, they're so scared to now give us Phoebus props because Sandy Brandello has never done this. So now they don't want to go ahead and offer it. I would have took Phoebus over anything. I would have played the over everything. But Nigel Hamilton quietly had 10 points as well.
Yeah, she was solid. I do want to ask you, though, about a potential under, which is a bit dangerous, but I do want to ask you about it because it is plus money. Tina Charles, no double-double, is plus 132.
Okay.
I'm intrigued. I'm pretty sure that's an underdog line. That's not an actual sportsbook line, but on underdog, you can still take it. I mean, we saw her basically play no minutes in the second half. We thought it was a bad matchup for her anyway. I am wondering if there might be some, I'd say, justification to giving Charles maybe a few fewer minutes because she was getting cooked in pick and roll, and it just felt like she's too slow to actually get out on the perimeter to guard anybody. But the rebounds have been kind of up and down against against the Liberty. She's had less than 10 rebounds in 3 of the last 5 games against the Liberty. She had 12 points in the first game, but it's most of the rebounds there. Like, I wonder if Charles has some value, expecting a bit of, I'd say, a lackluster performance based on how she played in game 1. If that repeats itself again, plus 132 for no double-double for a player that basically got benched the entire second half in game 1. You think there's value on that? That sounds like a pretty decent price.
I think it's value, Scott, but I think you're also thinking a little too small. I think you could go further than that, Scott. I think you can take that and also play it with Stewie. No, with Stewie rebounds over. Because literally all that's happening when you watch is Jacquel Jones is sacrificing herself and Stewie's cleaning up. Just you're boxing out. Cool, appreciate it. Mine. Everybody else, mine.
Even if Tina gives you a decent game, like 16 and 8, you still cash the no double-double. That's a lot of rebounds against this team with John Quell and Brianna. So I don't mind that as a plus money play.
Yep, I like it. Throw it in an underdog lineup with the higher on Stewie rebounds.
Yeah, there is one other. there is one other play that I want to mention. It's going to be a bit juice. It's the first quarter play. Give me John
Okay.
Quell under 3.5 points in the first
Are
quarter.
you going back to this?
I have to. She's gone
No,
under
but
this.
there.
She's
So,
been terrible in the first quarters for the last like month. I
but it
kind of have
feels
to.
like What happened? What happened that last time you did this?
I
Where's the
won.
sheet?
I took it in the Commissioner's Cup, and she had no points in the first quarter.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, I knew at some point you had did this, and I'm like, man, there was one play. Yeah, that was it. Why have we not been on that more this season?
Because they don't
It's so
offer us
many
first quarter
plays.
props.
Oh yeah,
They don't really offer us many first quarter props. But John Quell, to go through the numbers here, has scored less than 4 points in the first quarter in 6 of the last 7, 8 of the
Mhm.
last 10, 14 of the last 20, and she's gone under in 3 straight against the Dream. So I'm back on the under on John Quell. Offensively, she's been taking a nap for about a month. And we know that most of the shots are going to Ionescu, maybe even Fibich, and of course you got Stewie. I'll go back to the well. Give me under John Quell, first quarter points at 3.5.
Wow, man,
I didn't forget
forgot
about the
that
prop.
bet.
We just didn't get the props. Now we finally got them again for quarters.
Wow, that's funny as hell. I really forgot about that bet. Cause I'm like, man, I haven't heard that in a while. Scott was talking that up. What's her assist at? Is there an assist prop out? Wow, it's not actually an assist prop out.
No,
Oh, they're scared.
they're scared. Mhm.
Oh, they're terribly scared. Wow, it's not an assist prop out because she was getting inside the paint, and the reason she wasn't scoring is because she was dishing out to everybody for three.
Mhm.
Oh man, that's actually really scary. I was gonna get up here and talk about a Jocko Jones assist prop, and that was gonna be like a long shot, like a little, hey, 6 assists, and that's probably some crazy plus money. They're scared. Wow. All right.
I see Mal telling me that Tina No Double Double is available on an actual sports book. It's on ESPN bet at plus 110. I think I'd rather just
Oh
take an
yeah, I forgot
underdog
they
at
do.
plus
Forgot they
132.
do that.
132 on underdog though is a much better line. I'd rather just throw that into an entry and call it a
But
day.
now you got to parlay it with, well, not parlay. I'm sorry. You got to pair it
Entry.
with another
Yeah,
stat.
that's
Pair it
fine.
with another stat.
John Quell first
I
quarter if they give it to
really
me.
hope
I'll
underdog didn't
take it.
listen to that point. All
It's
right,
fine. Sean's
let's
not
move things
listening anyway.
along.
It's fine.
Let's move things along, Scott. BetUS, best in the business, been around for more than 30 years. Easily deposit with cryptocurrency, and you can get lightning fast payouts. So go ahead, go take that Atlanta Dream plus 12.5 to the bank over at BetUS. Sign up with us. Use our promo code SGPN at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS, and you can get 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Use that promo code SGPN so they know we sent you. All right, Scott, we're getting back in the lab with Rhythm, firing up the trusty old Rhythm app and checking out the nice plays of the day for the WNBA tomorrow. Go in there, you can build your own models, custom models, or you can use our models or their models. And hey, Rhythm out here. What, Scott? Are you AI, Scott? Are you actually Scott, or are you AI?
I
Because
can't answer that question. It's against my programming.
see, I see. It sounds like something.
A
Sounds
robot
like
would say.
something Scott would actually say to troll me into
Mhm.
thinking that he's actually AI. So I'm convinced you're Scott. But what I will say is Rhythm AI is on Dream plus 12.5, 67.7 win probability. Scott, 9.2 is where they say the Dream gonna
Yeah,
come.
I
9.2.
said 10. Close enough.
Yeah, that's why I asked if you're AI. Thought she was AI here. The 10 was trying to throw me off. I had to make sure, but you're a smart ass. So clearly you're Scott. All right.
Thank
7-day free trial over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Whew. All right, Scott. We back with
I think Terrell lagged out there. So
did I?
you good? Yeah, you're back. Welcome
Yeah.
back.
Okay. All right. Where was I at? Laying 8. The Las Vegas Aces. 160 is the total injury report, and we have so Ezzy is not on the injury report with a concussion. Looks like she's expected to come back and play. Queen Egbo is out with an illness. There's no report on Jewel Lloyd, which means she's gonna play, which probably isn't the best thing right now.
We'll save that for the player prop section. I'll be on that.
All right.
I mean, you had the Storm in game 1, so I'll let you go first, but I feel like my stance is pretty obvious at this point.
So I will say, with a compromised Jewel Lloyd, I don't think they win the game.
Okay.
I really, 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 really want to go back to the well with Seattle. I feel like if I flip to Vegas, this is going to be the game that Seattle pushes it to the wire and loses in the last possession because Asia Wilson's the greatest player on the planet. Fuck it. I'm gonna go back to Seattle. If I'm gonna lose, I'm just gonna lose all the way. And I'm just saying Seattle keeps this close. But I really, 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 really do think that one, this is a more defensive game with Ezzy back in the lineup. That's a really huge defensive piece that they get back. I do think Seattle played well until they just completely died in the fourth quarter. And so honestly, if you can just literally do what you did for 3 whole quarters and not just 1 quarter, then perfectly fine. In fact, I feel better about a Seattle first half angle now because I really think Seattle is going to play well. They're going to be in the game. I think Ezzy's going to give them a boost offensively and defensively. And so with that, I don't trust them in the fourth quarter, man. Like, I just don't trust them in the fourth quarter. Like, it just feels like this is going to have the same game script up there in the game. And then in the fourth quarter, they're just going to blow it. And now it's just going to be how many points do they blow it by?
So you want the first half?
Oh, for sure. I would 100% take the first half. But in terms of picking the game, I'm still going to take Seattle plus the 8. And I just hope that when they blow it in the fourth quarter, they keep it within 8 this time.
Yeah.
That's not the spirit of the drop. The spirit of the drop is when we're both on chalk, Scott.
It is for me. I'm laying it.
Yeah, but that's not the spirit of the drop. Like, this is a joint drop.
All I know is
you drop.
When we call a team the Showers and they still don't cover 3 in a row, and they scored 2 points in the entire fourth quarter of a playoff game, you should be thrown out of the bracket. They should take your team and throw you out of the playoffs for hitting 0 shots in a quarter of a playoff game. I'm on the Aces. I think the Aces had an awful first quarter, which allowed the Storm to take a decent lead. Asia was terrible for the entire first half, took over the game, and they won and covered. I just think Chelsea Gray looked fantastic, by the way, which was very encouraging for Aces future bettors. Plum didn't score a point until the fourth quarter. They had so many things go right for them for the first, basically 30 minutes, and they still didn't cover the game. Give me the Aces. I think the Aces win this game by 10-15. I just think that the Storm, once again, are going to fall apart in the fourth quarter. Jewel's their main scorer. She's clearly injured. The Aces defensively have found a gear that they didn't have before. She looked awful. And I had the under for rebounds and assists. She looked terrible.
She looked absolutely horrible. All right, fine. I'm going with the Aces.
So I can't... wait, you're going with the Aces now?
Yeah, I'll Benedict. I'll go with the Aces.
Welcome board.
It's really because I just remember so many playoff games where not Breanna Stewart but Jewel Lloyd came up big and for them in that fourth quarter, and they just don't have that. The
Aces went 2 of 18 in the first quarter, and they still covered the spread. They had the worst half imaginable, and Asia was terrible.
I'll tell you what though. If Jewel just muscles through and looks healthy for a game, I'm almost positive we're going to eat crap. But I just think that's a really, really low possibility with how bad she looked. She
was so
really
bad that they played her 25 minutes.
And she didn't even play. Yeah, she didn't even play the fourth quarter. There was
a
whole end of the run that she just wasn't even out there playing. And that's another reason why I ended up flipping, because come on, you're in the playoffs and you don't play Jewel. That's how bad it's got to be, because she didn't play at the end of the game. in the
No,
fourth
and our
quarter,
props haven't moved.
where they
So
only scored and where they couldn't buy a bucket. They didn't pull Joel Lloyd off the bench. Like that's enough for me. Where you couldn't buy a bucket, you didn't pull her off the bench. She's clearly not right.
in the
Yeah,
first quarter,
I'm sorry, we can't go
Jewel had
Seattle,
2 rebounds
unfortunately.
and 2 assists in the first quarter. So I had the under 7.5. She had 1 in the final 3 quarters combined. She had 1 rebound, no
All
assist.
right,
I'm good.
stop jamming the knife in me and twisting it.
So
I said I agree. We're going aces. We're going
yeah.
aces.
I do like the under, though. I like the Storm team total under. I don't think this team's going to score well. I think the Aces adjusted as the game went on, and that's why the Storm kind of fell apart down the stretch. Gabby Williams was fantastic. Diggin Smith was great. It just felt like they got a lot of what they kind of wanted early on, and the pace helped out. Then the game kind of slowed down, and Seattle had nothing in the half court. I just think this game's going to go under with the Aces playing good defense. So,
all right.
You on the under too, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I think the under is quite possibly. Is it a lock? It's very, very close. If it's not a lock, it's like the closest thing to a lock that can be really, really good. And I think it's Ezzy. Ezzy is really, really gonna come in there, really shore up that painted area and just kind of clean up all the extra, maybe not stop Asia, but at least clean up all the extra drives to the baskets and also helping them force turnovers, as he's really good at helping them force turnovers and just being a force on defense. So I think, and also the rebounding is going to help too. So yeah, even though Mercedes Russell played a great game.
Yeah.
All right.
Something Mal mentioning, by the way, NECA didn't score in the entire second half. So they
No,
just
she
did a great
didn't.
job of guarding her.
Yeah, she was cooking in the first half. They just
Yep.
it wasn't there. And they couldn't buy a bucket. All right.
Nope.
Player props. Scott, if point guard is gonna go in, I mean, this is literally what we said this though. Well, I feel like we mentioned it. There's a possibility that she just turns it on for the playoffs, and that's just it. Scott, I think she's about to just turn it on for the playoffs, Scott.
I saw 2 half court back behind the back passes in the first half by Gray, and I'm like, oh, this is just happening.
This is gonna be like this is gonna happen. She's gonna
happening.
just turn it up for the playoffs, and then they're Scott.
She was fully
Close.
feeling it. She had everything she wanted.
Scott, dangerously close to being the team from a year ago. Dangerously close. Not there yet, but dangerously close.
I mean, going into the playoffs, I picked the Aces to win the title. So I'm happy that this is the Gray that we got. But should be a fun series between the Aces and the Liberty. So we'll see what happens in the second round. But yeah, I think she looked great. It was the best she's looked all year.
You got to take the overs. You got to spam the overs.
I gotta see what her numbers are at.
11.5, Scott. Scott, 11.5 and 5.5 on this is Scott. If we were getting Chelsea Gray of last year and we saw this line, do you know? Fingers itching. I'm about to bet this right now. Actually, we gotta just ladder point guard, because honestly, truly, 20 and 10 is well inside the realm of possibility for her.
I am going to throw it out there. 8 assists in this game is plus 375.
Scott,
just saying, 375 for 8 assists.
Eye. Man, what? How do we? I'm completely drinking the Kool-Aid and just saying it could be one game, and it could honestly just be one game. It really could, but they're gonna get money from me if it is. They sure are. I'm all the way back on point guard train. It's not even anymore. It's point guard.
Are you going back to Diggin Smith though? Because she was also really good. She was like one of the players to show up for Seattle. Her and Gabby Williams, and NECA in the first half.
NECA in the first half. That's it.
But she still showed up for a half. But she was probably the best player, and she has had at least 24.5 PRA in 8 of the last 9. So if you want to go for overall recent trends, Diggin Smith PRA is probably a move. If you want to consider.
Yeah, Diggin Smith PA is also in lead.
I mean, you know where I'm going with unders. Is it time for me to get into it, or do you want some other props to mention first?
Am I going to let you go ahead and get into your under train? Yeah, go ahead, sure.
Yeah, so the question is, do I want Jewel Lloyd under 24.5 PRA, or do I want the under 7.5 RA again? She can't move. There's really no way around it. She was a complete non-factor. She played 25 minutes in a close game, and you could tell that she couldn't move defensively. That's why she got benched. She couldn't stay in front of anybody. They kept backdoor cutting her, and she had no response to it. So I like Lloyd unders, obviously. 7.5, I do think, is too high for the RA, which has been reliable, and it worked out quite well. The points, though, were also high for a player that might play less than 30 minutes again.
I mean,
But
and
she's a flamethrower,
Scott,
so she can
I
get
don't
crazy
think
at
I've
any time.
ever seen Jewel Lloyd with the 16.5 points prop ever in
I know.
life.
Well, I was talking about adding it to the PRA factor, but I think I'd rather
I
just take
think
the RA.
don't even play. Don't even
I'll
play
go
with
with
the
the
points.
RA.
Yeah,
It's
RA.
fine. It is what
It's
it
been
is.
working all season.
It's been working all year, and it's even money. She had 5 in game 1, 4 in the first quarter. Under 7.5's even money. Hell yeah, I'll take the under. That's a great price. Give me even money.
All right. Anything else stick out?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, unless you just expect Asia to have a monster game points-wise, because she was great in the second half. Did really nothing in the first half. I like Asia blocks if you could find it.
I mean, it's really hard because I think that if she just has a competent first half, like at the end of the game, she's gonna get every shot attempt.
She could easily get 30 if she
yeah,
plays a
like
full 4.
yeah, like I don't go against it. I'm probably still gonna play it, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't go against it. The rebounds really did piss me off though, and
Mhm.
I think I'm just gonna kind of run that back because it was just kind of unlucky in the first half. She finished with 2 in the first half.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there and I was like, man, watch her finish with like 8 for the game. But also had some sizable money on her rebounds and that didn't go through. I think I'm probably gonna run that back and just in case. But
You want Gabby or no? You think that was a one-off, or do you think she's just here for the playoffs and she's going to
oh, I'm
dominate again?
sorry. I was about to move on, but I had to sneeze.
No, it's all good, but I got to mention Gabby because she played great.
Oh yeah, she played amazing.
I'll take the assists again at 3.5. I'll take the over. She only had 2 in game 1 though, but I feel like a lot of people just couldn't hit shots. She still has been a good facilitator recently, so I don't mind Gabby having herself a solid game.
Actually, what is her assist at?
3.5 at -110.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
She only had 2 in game
actually,
1, so they didn't move it.
yeah, no, but I think that's a really good play. Like I really, really like that play. And I'm surprised she only had 2 in game 1. Like that's what I just remembering from what I saw. I'm like, oh, it was really only 2. I thought she
Yeah.
had like at
Well, because she
least
made a
4.
bunch of shots, so a lot of it was scoring. But I don't have Outlier doesn't have potential assists for the WNBA. They have it for the
Mhm.
NBA, so I'm sure potential assist was high, but nobody
What's
could hit
her
a shot in the
PRA?
entire second half. Gabby PRA is available at 20.5. She's gone over in 6 straight games.
Yeah, I was sitting at 20.5 sounds like really short.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually like that play more than the assists. I think 20.5 is a one number that's too low.
Yeah. Yeah, 20.5 on the PRA for Gabby Williams. That's your Gabby Williams play.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, she better chuck something. They couldn't score. And she wasn't chucking enough, clearly.
Team
All
didn't make a
right.
shot in the entire fourth quarter, and they benched her for the final. They benched Jewel for the final 6 minutes. That's rough. That's rough. So
All right. Indiana Fever on the road playing the Connecticut Sun. Game 1 went exactly how we said. Game 2 be a little bit interesting. Open up laying 7.5. Sun are currently laying 7. 163.5 is the total. I don't see any update on Ty Harris. Probably won't get that until tomorrow. Yeah, probably won't get an update on Ty Harris, but tomorrow. But she did I think it was an ankle, turn an ankle, and she didn't come back in the rest of the game, I don't believe. Let me just double check and make sure. But they didn't need her. It was the Marina Mabry show. And Marina Mabry just came into the game and immediately caught fire and started to take off. So potentially no Ty Harris in this game here, but that'll give you extended Marina Mabry minutes, Veronica Burton, and yeah. All right.
I mean, game 1 was a murder. It was not even close.
Indiana couldn't defend. And it wasn't even like they just legit a lot of the threes early on from Marina Mabrey are wide open.
Yeah.
And she did miss a couple to start. And then she just kind of caught fire and never stopped. DeWanna Bonner just did DeWanna Bonner in the playoff things.
Mhm.
I'm actually really, really, really disappointed we didn't hammer DeWanna Bonner a little bit more showing up in this game. I feel like we talked about it a little bit, but we probably should have. That should have definitely been in the dog. I should have made that the dog. DeWanna Bonner absolutely, completely cooked. Marina Mabrey, I think, set an all-time playoff record for points off the bench with 27. I mean,
You're just going same thing as game one,
what
right?
is Indiana? What is Indiana? How does Indiana adjust to this?
Adjusting is, I don't know if possible, but they're hoping Caitlin can actually hit some shots. It's not going to fix their defense, but they might fix their offense.
They were open.
Yeah, she's couldn't hit a shot.
But it's
So-
like I can't say, like I can't, and it's so funny. Of the 2 threes, I can distinctly remember one that was on Marina Mabrey.
Yeah.
But like she had open looks. Like it won't like it wasn't like all of them. She created space and she had pretty solid looks. She couldn't hit a thing.
So you're laying this, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have for me, I didn't see anything any different than any other time Indiana played on the road against Connecticut, or for the most part, any other top 3 team. Except they did have a good road game against the Lynx, and they got the win out right there. I don't see it. I don't see it. If they're gonna give open looks to the entire team, like Connecticut's gonna hit. It's just bad defenses. Connecticut can score on bad defenses. Ultimately, that's it. Connecticut can't score on everybody, but they can score on bad defenses. I'm taking Connecticut.
Yeah, initially in the series, I picked Connecticut to win game one pretty comfortably, and I thought Indiana would maybe steal a game. I don't think they're going to steal a game. I wanted to make a case for it. Connecticut's been playing really well for the last couple weeks. Is why they got the 3 seed. They tried to get the 2, but they were playing some good basketball lately. The Fever just look, I'd say, immature. They look just not ready for the moment, and defensively, they completely no-showed the entire game, which might have been expected. But offensively, it was a lot of Caitlin, please do something, and nobody else really bothered to help out at all. I know I mentioned earlier in the series breakdown that Mitchell might have had a bad ankle, and we'll see how that transitions through the course of the series. But the point is, the Fever can't guard anybody. AT dominated. Nobody could guard her in particular. And we know how good she can be and how dominant she can be in every facet of the game because the rebounding was there, the assists were there. I think she had like 13 assists in the first game. I just think that the Sun are too deep. And it feels like the Fever need to make a couple moves to fix the defense, but those are all season moves. They can't make them mid-series. So I think I'm going to go back to the Sun. I want to make a case for the Fever. I love the over in this game. I just see a bunch of points. I expect the Fever to play better offensively, but defensively, I really just don't see much changing from Indiana because I don't think they have the bodies and the overall defensive identity to flip a switch. I just don't see that happening. So give me the over. I think this game probably gets into the 170s. I just don't know why Connecticut would play slow if Indiana's giving them a bunch of wide open looks in transition the entire game anyway. So I just like the over in this game. I think Connecticut covers. Maybe the Fever can score enough to keep the game somewhat competitive, but give me the over. I just see a track meet breaking out. And based on Connecticut scoring 90 plus points in game one, why would they slow it down in game two? I think I just like the over.
I mean, I'll run back Connecticut team total over for sure. And I guess I feel a little bit different contrary to like the Seattle and Vegas game where excuse me. Maybe Atlanta's offense, not Atlanta, maybe Indiana's offense picks up. But man, I can't see them getting a stop. And what I think they need to do, they're probably not going to do, and that's why I don't trust Indiana's offense because they need to play through the bigs.
Yeah.
Aaliyah Boston's really bad at pick and roll. Well, I mean, in your opinion, but I can go ahead and I'll roll with the over with you, but that will go ahead and lead me into my play. Scott, we have to back Aaliyah Boston. We have to back Aaliyah Boston. Absolutely. I really think that they probably should let Nalissa Smith loose, and I think they'll have a better game because I think she and Aaliyah Boston both can get on the inside and really, really make AT and Brianna Jones guard at the rim. Like there were multiple times Aaliyah Boston would come in and get the ball, whether it be on a pick and roll or just in the post, and just go straight at Brianna Jones and get a foul and an and one. Really, really look really, really good. Like out of a whole team that just did not look good, Aaliyah Boston was not one of them. Absolutely not one of them. And I think that was slightly conservative game. Like I think if they're even remotely closer in the game, Leah Boston's going off, man.
I mean,
Like
she had 17. I do agree with the comment section, though. I thought she was terrible defensively in game one, but offensively, she's still at 17 and 11. So she can still give you some player prop usage.
Yeah, I'm 22 and a half on the points and rebounds. I think the points at 13 and a half is really short, like a really, really short line for 13 and a half points. I think she's going to continue to get to the line. I think she's going to continue to challenge Brianna Jones on the inside, and she's going to be really good as she was in game one, at least offensively. But I think Aaliyah Boston is going to slow down here, so I like Aaliyah Boston overs.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to AT. The question is, do I want the rebounds or do I want the assists? Historically speaking, the assists have actually not been good against Atlanta. They haven't been great against Indiana. They're fine. She had 13 in game one, though, but they also scored 93 points. I'm expecting some regression there. The rebounds were fine. She had 10. I think I am going to go back to the rebounds at 8.5. Then the line's just too low. She had 9 entering the fourth quarter, only had 1, but the game also kind of got out of reach late. But she's had at least 10 rebounds in 5 of the last 6 against Indiana. We know that Indiana can't really match up with her. I just see another good AT game. So it worked for me. I gave out the 9.5 rebounds at plus 205 and that cashed. So I'll go back to the regular rebounds. Give me 8.5 over at minus 132.
Yeah, I mean, I think you play that. I think you play the points, rebounds, and assists. I think you play everything AT still.
It's at 29.5, though. They did bump it up a bit. So that's kind of why I'm going with rebounds. But that's fine. Anything else? Maybe threes, maybe?
Yeah, for sure.
I think
I think she's moving into the starting lineup. She's still going to score threes. The opportunity is going to be there, and I think they're going to be open.
It's 2.5 at even money. 3.5 threes, by the way, is plus 235. She had 5 in game one. So that's an option. She took 12 3-pointers, by the way. 3.5 threes at plus 235, really? It's a pretty good price.
Yeah, this version of Kelsey Mitchell, I think you still got to play her on the over 20 and a half points. She had 21 in a bad game.
Yeah, I see Mal mentioning Carrington rebounds as well, which I think has some value. Let me just quickly see the numbers on Carrington against this team. I believe it's been very good, rebounding-wise, against the Fever in particular. She's had at least 5 rebounds in 4 of the last 6 games, 6 of the last 9. She has had at least 5 rebounds in 5 of the last 6 against Indiana. So, yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah, going back to Kelsey Mitchell, over on the 20 and a half points. Like I said, over in the past 2 games against this team, I know it really wasn't, but this is like a different version of Kelsey Mitchell. And she went over at last game in 21. And again, that was a bad game. Like that was a 9 for 20, never really got comfortable and still kind of kept getting to her spot, kept trying and eventually hitting shots. I think she can be a little bit more consistent. So I think she still gets over this, probably finishes around less shots, more efficient game, 22, 23, 24, 25. All that seems in the realm possibility for Kelsey Mitchell.
Yep.
DeWanna Bonner, got a player. Got a player. Just a matchup nightmare. They just really don't. Like, they threw a bunch of different looks at her, but it just.
That's one thing that I kind of noticed in game one, though. You're mentioning matchup nightmare. I think everybody on Connecticut is a matchup nightmare for this team because the Fever don't guard anybody. Like, you're looking at, like, the entire starting lineup, including the bench with Mabry, and who did they match up well with in game one? They didn't match up against anybody. I mean, they scored 93 points. It just feels like a bunch of mismatches all over the court. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
And every game the Sun have played against the Fever this season at home, they've won by, I believe, at least 18 points. So these games in Mohegan have not even been close. So, yeah, I think Connecticut can name the score here. They've played 3 games in Mohegan this season, and the Sun have won all 3 by at least 17 points. It's asking a lot for the Fever to figure it out suddenly for a game 2. So I'll admit I might have been wrong on that one, picking a game 3. I want it to be different. It didn't work out.
Hey, everybody, we was trying to pick a dog. A dog is gonna win one of these games.
Hopefully a game. A series we don't think is going to happen, but a game, I'd love a game 3 in there somewhere. It's unlikely at this point. Maybe the Mercury can steal one. Who knows? But yeah, we might get a bunch of sweeps. So we'll see what happens.
All right, let's close it out with the last one. Phoenix Mercury on the road. Game 2 playing the Minnesota Lynx. Lynx open up at 9. It's down 8.5. 160.5 is the total. Injury report. I don't have anything official here for anybody. Celeste Taylor did come back in that game after a face injury last time, so I'm not really worried about any of that. All right.
I want to ask.
I mean, come on. They were hit. Yeah. They hit every shot for like 2 quarters straight. And then
that's what I was going to ask you. Which part of the game was fluky? The Lynx going up 23, or the Mercury somehow leading with 2 minutes to go?
I think it's the Mercury somehow leading with 2 to go.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Like, are we biased in thinking this?
I don't know if bias is the right word, because we have a large track record of fading the Mercury on the road. And it just seemed like everything clicked at the same time. You're looking at Taurasi, who somehow dropped 20-plus points, which kind of came out of nowhere. We didn't see that coming. Cloud was incredible. Cloud ended up having 33, 6, and 10. Griner did nothing the entire game. That's concerning. But Copper was good in the second half. She had 16 points. So I still don't think the Mercury can guard this team. It just felt like the Mercury made a bunch of threes. They went 14 of 27 from 3. That part feels fluky. But the Lynx did attempt 25 free throws, and the Mercury attempted 11. The Mercury foul a lot, and the Lynx made 24 of their 25 free throws. I think that's the difference. It just felt like the Mercury got hot from 3 in a game, and they still lost. The Lynx, I think, scoring this many points is more sustainable than the Mercury doing it. So I'll go with the Lynx.
Yeah. I'm fading that shooting display. Like that was just an unreal, absolutely unreal shooting display.
14 of 27 from 3 is absolutely absurd. I just can't look past
like
that.
it was just a whole portion of the game that they just couldn't miss. And I'm like, oh, chipping. They just couldn't miss. I trust Minnesota defensively a lot better to take that away and make them put the ball on the floor. Like at any point they put the ball on the floor, I don't think they came away with that possession. But when the ball is moving without a dribble and it's just pass, shot, and then Bridget Carlton, another huge 3. Like I'm back in the side with Bridget Carlton on it. I'm sorry. She's now becoming I think the NBA would call it clutch player of the year.
Yeah, that's fair.
some big late threes that she's been hitting, dude. Yeah, I'm on Minnesota. I'm not straying away. Minnesota's gonna win. Nafis Collier, did you hear the press conference after Nafis Collier calling for?
Yes, she wants to retire Taurasi, but of course it wasn't like it wasn't like this.
She said, "I'm trying to retire."
It wasn't like distasteful. She meant it jokingly, like we want to eliminate them from the playoffs. But
yeah, like we don't want this to go to a game 3. But like,
it was funny the way she phrased it. And Taurasi once again might not retire, but that's a separate story. So we'll see what happens.
I don't think she's retired, bro. Taurasi is getting a retirement.
That is such a farewell tour move.
Like what? She is the perfect. Like she's getting a farewell tour.
Farewell tour? They don't love you like that. You know, was that Draymond to Paul Pierce?
And it's because Sue did it, and I think because Sue did it, that might be the thing of like Sue did that because they're such good friends. She's like, Sue did that. I'm not about to go do that. I'm gonna just ride off to the sunset and be gone. Like
to be
that's
fair,
the only way.
To be fair, though, if you're comparing Sue's career stats to Tarazi, she might need 2 farewell tours. I'll just put it that way. But yeah, she'll get a farewell tour. I think she'll come back next year. Maybe
Yeah,
not at the Mercury, but maybe somewhere else.
I would be surprised if she just swallowed everything and said, "Nah, I'm not going on a farewell tour." Like, what? Yeah, no, Kayla's face was hilarious. Like, it was really, really funny because I'm like, oh, they're about to retire them. There's no way I'm not betting against Minnesota after she says she's about to retire Diana Taurasi. All right, Minnesota laying 8.5. Scott, I think this is possibly going to be my lock
Okay.
because they're
3-point
not
luck
hitting.
won't continue.
They're not hitting all of those again. They're not. They're not. They're not. That was like, I don't want to say it's fluky because we know this team and we know that they can hit it, and the offense has been that good. They haven't hit it in this spot. They haven't hit it against these types of teams. I think they got the one big playoff game, and it's all going to come crashing down. Under 160.5.
The concern I have for the Mercury is they put their best effort out there for like 20 minutes and they still lost. I'm wondering psychologically if they fall behind early again, do they just roll over? Because they threw the kitchen sink at this team for 20 minutes and they still fell apart down the stretch. Now you could argue they didn't really fall apart. They're down 1. They're up 1 with 2 minutes to go and they basically didn't get a stop for the rest of the game. So I am concerned the Mercury, if they go down early, won't have the same mental toughness and just overall resiliency to bounce back down double digits and to put together another solid fight. I'm concerned if they start off slow, they're just going to roll over and just view the vacation plans in the horizon.
And
that's kind of my concern. So I'm on the Lynx too.
It's also the thought of like, hey, we got to put this team away now. We seen that they gave us a scare and they were up 2 minutes to go last game. We got to put them away. We're not trying to go to the worst case scenario is going to Phoenix. Like that is worst case scenario here. If you give this Phoenix Mercury team one game at home in the playoffs, I mean, I understand they're the Borons, but I've seen Phoenix with one game to win in Phoenix in the playoffs, and they've thrown the kitchen sinks at people before. It wasn't this coach, it wasn't this team, but you don't let it get there. And I think the defense is going to be that reason. Under 160.5, Scott. I really, really like that under.
I am going to stay away from the total because they combined for 197, but I'm rooting for you. I think I prefer Mercury team total under. I think the Lynx can torch this defense. I just don't think the Mercury can shoot like that again in Minnesota. So I'd prefer I would personally prefer the Mercury team total under.
All right.
But we do agree about Minnesota. So you know what that means. Yeah.
Hey, that guitar. What's going on? All right. Yeah, that's very, very close in the lock too. I really think that's going to be a lock. I just can't. I think the scoring is just going to be down. Okay. Player props. I mean, it starts with fee, and then we go from there.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's all the way up at 22.5. Oh, they learned their lesson. Oh, they said, oh, you got us with that 19.5 and thinking that she wasn't going to turn up for the playoffs a little bit. I still think you got to play it at 22.5, by the way. I still think that's a really good play.
I can't guard her.
They can't. It doesn't matter whether she's, all 3 levels, she's scoring. And the fact that she's worked on her 3-point shot so much and that it comes up really, really big for them in games like this, yeah. Let's see. I'm taking Bridget over 2.5 threes, man. It's just time after time. She just comes up really, really big, and they just do not. The ball movement that happens on offense for the Minnesota Lynx is a thing to watch. And then combine that with the fact that the Liberty are constantly late every single time getting over. I mean, it's raining threes, and Bridget just constantly hits big ones. I think it's a little bit more efficient here. A little bit more efficient. I want the 2.5 at plus money.
Okay, I don't mind that. I am looking at Tarazi rebounds. I don't mind the under 3.5 there. She has not been rebounding well lately at all, and Cloud with her insane rebound game in Game 1 for her standards and her overall playoff history, she might ramp that up. We know that Griner doesn't do much rebounding, but I thought they did a decent job on the boards in general. Tarazi, though, has had less than 4 rebounds in actually 8 of the last 9. So she's been flying under this number regularly. I like the under 3.5 rebounds. I feel like that's a pretty good price. Minus 128, I'll take that.
All right, let's see. What else we got here that looks good? I mean, she can have a slightly worse game and still easily get over 11.5, Scott.
That's true.
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know which prop you're going to be talking about.
Oh,
You said you meant points.
Oh,
You meant points, right?
yeah, I'm talking about points, but I'm like, you said that's true. I'm like, wait, I didn't even say who I'm talking about yet. Natasha Cloud,
Well,
man.
the point is I'm looking at outliers. So when you said 11.5, that did kind of narrow it down a bit.
Oh, yeah, no, Natasha Cloud over 11.5 points. That's probably I'm not gonna lie. I think that's
She have
probably
30 in Game 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
33.
She bumps her stats up for playoff time.
And I mean, she had already kind of like been on, last game of the season against Seattle. They didn't really play it all, but before that, 13, 18, 17, like she's kind of already been rolling. But I mean, if she's gonna go out there and just start being so confident scoring the basketball, I mean, she could do half of what she did, and we still cash this prop. Am I saying she's gonna go out there and drop 30 again? No. But 11.5 is just not enough of an adjustment. I don't think, for how the mindset of how they want to play Natasha Cloud against them in this series, and which is we're not going to just use her on the defensive end. We're going to use her as a part of the offense. And so when she's not creating for others, she's going to be looking for a shot. And a Natasha Cloud that's looking for her own shot is actually pretty dangerous. And it's kind of crazy because we don't get to see this version of her too often. But if she's going to be looking for a shot in this series, yeah, why not? I mean, she actually rivals. It took an otherworld game to rival Nafisa Collier for top point scorer, but somehow Natasha Cloud found a way to do it. 11.5 over.
Yeah, I like that too.
All right. Anything else you got here?
Not that I could think of. I thought about Courtney Williams' points again, but she didn't look that great in Game 1. I think I'll stay away from it. Instead, I'll just stick with what we got.
All right. Let's see. Anything else I want to add up there? No.
I thought about fading Griner, but I'm not going to do it. Thought about it. She's been mentally checked out for like a week and a half, but
it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
You can walk the sidelines with that one. All right. Let's close things out here. Lock, dog, underdog. For my lock, I kind of want to go. Kind of want to go Minnesota again, but no, I'm kind of that under is very, very tempting. Very, very tempting. Is anything else going to pull me off of that under? Yeah, Connecticut team total over is also really, really good. It's only at 85.5, Scott.
That is pretty low. I mean, they scored 93 last game, so.
And they weren't even pushed.
Yeah.
Like, what if the Fever do come out here and push them, they're still going to get over 85.5.
No, that's fair.
I'm stick with it. I'm fading the Morons. They can't score. 160. Yeah, that was the anomaly. That was the anomaly. Like, that was the pure anomaly. And that I just gotta fade that 3-point scoring. They really, really like worst basketball. I'm talking about all-time worst basketball. And then they had their get up game. Get that bullshit out of here. Minnesota's gonna dominate this game. They're not gonna be able to score. However, I do think the scoring was a little bit of anomaly for Minnesota as well. This was way too many points. Way too many. This is a classic to under adjustment. and taking under 160.5 in Minnesota and Phoenix. My dog might be going back to the first game.
Okay.
But do I want to play against the Liberty's defense? I feel like there's better ways to look at that. Leah Boston was really, really close. That double-double's at plus 135. Really, really close. And if it was plus 140, I would have went ahead and just added to the card. We're going to, yeah, I guess I should just go with my first look, even though it is against the Liberty. I think Alicia Gray really got some good looks at the basket, and they just didn't fall. I think it's going to be a lot more consistent. I think it's going to be a lot better. I am expecting the Atlanta offense, where I think that Ryan Howard just never has played good against consistently against the Liberty. Tina Charles, I think, is nullified with Jonquel Jones, and they're both kind of taking each other out of the game. And I think that Alicia Gray is not scared to go at Sabrina Ionescu. And I saw that in the first game. And the times that she did go out her, she scored. So just go at her more. Go at her all game. So, and that's where you're going to be able to constantly get offense. And so that's the adjustment they got to make. That's the adjustment I'm hoping they're making, Scott. And I'm gonna put my money in my mouth where my mouth is and go with the player that has multiple 20-point games against this team. I'm gonna take Alicia Gray, 20 plus points at plus 260.
All right. So for my lock, thought about maybe going with.
Aha! I didn't. Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
Wait, what? What happened?
Never mind. I'm gonna just keep it. I'm gonna throw it in the parlay. Never mind.
Oh, okay. For my lock, I was torn between a lot of props I actually liked. Thought about Taurasi under 3.5 rebounds. Might bet that separately, but I think I'm just going to go back to all reliable here. Then again, it is the same game. Do I want the same play in both game? And do I want both plays in the same game? I think I might in the end. I got to do it based on price. Give me Jewel Lloyd under 7.5 rebounds and assists. It's at even money. Even money on an injured player. She's gone under in 15 of 20 anyway. So I like the play regardless. And we saw her have one in the last 3 quarters combined. She got benched in crunch time when her team couldn't score. Probably not a good sign for game 2. And I think that the Aces defense really just clamped down as the game went on. And we saw Diggins Smith have 8 assists as well. Not many to go around for Jewel as he's back. Less rebounding potential there for Jewel. I am going to go with the under 7.5 RA for Jewel at even money as my lock. For my dog, give me Chelsea Gray 6+ assists and the Aces to win at plus 154. Not going to overthink it. Gray had a great game at 7 assists in game 1, and they couldn't hit a shot in the entire first quarter. But Gray looked great. I think she's fully healthy again, and I think that's a great price. So give me plus 154 on Gray 6+ assists and the Aces money line.
All right. For the parlay, yeah, Chelsea Gray, you took the assist. I'm gonna take the points. I agree with Ryan. 15 plus points, plus 180. Throwing that into, well, I found a plus 195. Gonna throw that in the parlay. Really like that. Let's see. What else should go in the parlay? Help me out here, Scott. Where? Oh, Leah Boston. Duh. Let's put a Leah Boston in there. I think, should I go 15? Ooh, 15? Okay, 15 and 15. All right, because that's plus 110. Okay. Chelsea 15,
By the
Leah
way, I'm sorry,
15.
what did you say the price was for Gray 15?
For Gray 15, plus 195.
Can I interest you in Gray 15 and the Aces to win at plus 280?
Yeah, no, I like that. I'll play that separately.
That's on FanDuel, but that's another option if you want an extra $1.
Yeah, no, I like that. Well, but then I don't think no. Is there one more person that if they got 15, it would
I mean, do you want to just go
Natasha.
back?
Natasha.
Okay. That's what I was going to say.
Natasha. Yeah, Natasha. That's it. So that's the play. Chelsea 15, Aaliyah 15, Natasha 15. Scott, take a guess.
I'm going to say, let's go 28-1.
Wow. 20-1.
Okay, all right.
20-1. What? That's it. We just need 15 points. Absolutely. Natasha Cloud just has to do half as much as what she did last game. That's it. I just need half.
That's doable.
All right, there you go. There's the parlay. 15, 15, 15. Chelsea, Aaliyah, Boston, and Chelsea Gray, Aaliyah, Boston, and Natasha Cloud. All right, underdog, and we're out of here.
Okay. I mentioned before Charles no double at plus 132. I like the value on that.
Sure.
That's one. You want to go with AT rebounds at 8.5? We're trying to spread the wealth here. We like a lot of.
I think we should just. I think we should do what we did last time and just tie AT in a bow.
Yeah, that's fine.
PRA.
Okay.
Works. All right. So
was it 29.5?
Hold on, wait. Oh, there it is. I was about to say what the lower double is not there. I had to click on it. Okay, so there we go. Where is her PRA?
I'm assuming it's 29.5.
It is higher.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
And Skylar? Or do we just not look that side of the ball and we just say no, let's.
Do you want to merge them? We could do Chelsea PA.
Yeah, I'm perfectly. You know what? I'm so bought back in on point guard that I'm perfectly fine. Like all this, I have a lot of leverage on point guard as we've been recording the show. I have now an incredible amount of leverage on point guard, and I'm perfectly fine with that. It's only at 17.5.
Okay, that's fine.
She could have 18 points, Scott.
Yeah,
perfectly fine with the leverage I have on point guard here. If I die, I die. That's what happens. All right. Tina Charles, lower half a double, 1.27x spicy. Alyssa Thomas, higher on the points, rebounds, and assists, 29.5. And Chelsea Gray, point guard, higher on the points and assists, 7.5. Scott, that's going to pay 7.62x. $100 get you $762. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN at underdogfantasy.com. Promo code NBA SGPN. A lot of bets, a lot of action, a lot of good looks. Chelsea Gray pays the bills tomorrow. Like, absolutely. Chelsea Gray pays the bills tomorrow. Scott, anything else for the people before we get up out of here?
Not really. I won a fantasy football matchup with 72 points. So I had a pretty good night.
Dang.
I had the second lowest points in the league this week, and I was against the lowest, so I got lucky on the draw. But ended up winning a fantasy week, doing nothing. So it felt pretty good.
Yeah, you're absolutely the luckiest person. All right. Make sure you give us a follow at Reichel Radio, at @reallyreal__. Make sure you give us a like, comment, and subscribe on NBA Gambling Podcast on YouTube. NBA coming up on the way. We're about to get through the playoffs. Then we're gonna be back for the NBA season. Yeah, that's it. Give us a 5-star rating review. And I have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast, just ending like this. We are out of here.